congratulations on your new or soon-to-be new Tesla. You'll save a lot of money on charging and maintenance, but there are a few things that you need to know that I wish I knew when I got my Model 3 about 2 years ago. So today I'm going to share 10 things that you should know as a new Tesla owner, and at the end I'll share one tip that saved me thousands of dollars. Now let's dive into it and first talk about maintenance. So congratulations, you bought a car that requires very minimal maintenance, because if you come in and zoom in here, there's no engine. And what that means, there's no oil changes or typical maintenance that comes with owning a gas car. But there is important maintenance that you do need to know about, and that's with the battery. So with the battery, Tesla recommends to charge for your daily driving to no more than 80%. The reason for this is to preserve the longevity of the battery and help minimize the degradation, because over time your battery will degrade. The effect is very minimal, and it's to the point where these batteries are meant and they truly will last to 1,000,000 miles, but you don't want to lose range over time more than you have to if you plan to own the car for multiple years. And when you're going on road trips, if you need to charge more than 80%, that's totally fine. It'll have a very minimal to no effect on their battery. But for daily driving, everyday use, you don't want to charge to more than 80%. So there's no need for oil changes. There's no really need for new brake pads either. And that's because that will bring me to my second point that you need to know, which is the regenerative braking that Teslas have. So you may have heard about one pedal driving, and that is truly a thing. The way to describe regenerative braking for people who don't know about it is that when you let off the accelerator, the car applies a slight braking force or a slight deceleration, but it's not the actual brakes being applied. It's the battery sending energy back into the car that makes it more efficient. And in that way, most times, unless you need to slam on the brakes, the car will decelerate quickly enough to where you never really have to use the brakes. So when you let off the accelerator, the car does slow down quite a bit. And I was curious about this, and the answer is yes. Even though you don't touch the brakes, the brake lights still do come on, so don't worry about that. So regenerative braking will save you a lot of money by never having to replace the brake pads, and the one pedal driving takes some getting used to, but once you get used to it, it makes driving a whole lot easier. And let's talk about driving next by getting into the car, or to my third point, how to get in and out and lock the car to begin with. So the door handles are very unique, but very simply push it on one side, pull it out, it pops out. Let's get in the car and talk about how to lock it and unlock it. So the best and easiest way to lock and unlock your car is to set your phone as your key, which is very simple to do, and then your car will lock or unlock based on proximity to it. So if I walk up to my car and my car knows I'm close, it'll automatically unlock. And then if I turn an option called walk away lock on, which is standard here in Teslas, as you walk away with your phone, once you get a certain distance away, the car will automatically lock. You can also use the key card to lock or unlock your door, but I have to say, in my 2 years of owning a Tesla, I've never once had my phone not work for me. But in case your phone dies, it is good to have on you just in case. You would place it right here on the door to lock or unlock your car. And the car will lock once you start driving or put it in drive. But if you're sitting here hanging out in your car, recording videos or doing something else, you can manually lock or unlock the car from the screen here by hitting this little lock and unlock icon. And let's say, worst case scenario, you're in an accident, something happens, the power goes out in your car, and the button to open the doors no longer works. You hit this here, that's how you would normally get out. But if that doesn't work, what you can do, there's an emergency latch right below it. Put your fingers there, pull on that plastic piece, and that's a manual release for the door. So in worst cases, if the power does not work, the door will still open. And let's talk about the fourth thing you should know, which is how to turn on and turn off your Tesla. And while just like the phone being your key to lock and unlock the car, the same thing is true for turning on and off the car. As long as you have this with you and you're in the car is on, you can put it in drive and it will drive. When you're done driving, you put the car in park, take your phone with you and exit, and the car will be off. It's something to get used to at first. Coming from a gas car myself, I would close the door and make sure the screen turned off just so I knew that it was off. If you want to do that, you can do that, but it is just really that simple. In the car, it's on, you get out of the car, and it's off. You get your phone with you, and the car will also sense if someone's in the seat, if it wants to stay on or stay off as well. And the fifth thing you should know as a potential new owner is how to work the climate control. So you hit this button here, pull up the whole menu, and just like any car, you can go up or down, adjust the temperature, and that temperature of air will come out. But if you hit the auto button, what's pretty cool is that whatever temperature you set, the car will blow out whatever temperature air it needs to blow out to get the car at this temperature. So on a very hot day, if you put it at like 70 degrees, the car will blow out cold air until it's 70 degrees. On a very cold day, it will blow out warm air until it's 70 degrees. So I keep it on auto and keep it between like 70 and 72, and it's generally very comfortable in here. And from the same menu, you can move the air vents up or down, left or right. You can split them, very cool. You can do it passenger side as well. You can turn on your heated steering wheel from here, hitting this button here, your heated seats or ventilated seats, depending on your model, all from the climate control menu. And that all seems pretty intuitive, but the real pro tip here is that you can do all of that, all the climate controls, from your app as well. If you go to climate, you can turn it on or off, set the temperature whatever you want to set it at, and do all those things we just showed you from your app as well. And with that, the best thing you can do, especially on a cold day like we have here coming up, there's no better feeling than getting into a hot car on a very cold day. So what you can do is turn your seat heaters on, turn your heat on from anywhere via your app, and that way when you get in your car, it's nice and toasty. Now, speaking of extreme weather, whether it's very hot or very cold, your range will be affected. So that's something important to know too, and let's talk about that a little bit. So whether it's very hot or very cold outside, your Tesla does need to work a little bit harder to maintain climate control and keep the battery at optimal temperatures, so you will lose some range in very hot or very cold weather. And the most important way to keep an accurate estimate of your battery, which may seem counterintuitive, but is to keep your battery set as percentage instead of miles, because miles is never really accurate, to be honest. If you do want the most accurate range estimate, you can go into the Energy app in your Tesla. It's very intuitive. It's a lot of very cool features. I'm not going to break it down in this video here, but all you should know is that whether it's very hot or very cold, your Tesla will lose some range, and just keep your battery at percent instead of miles. Now, speaking of apps, there are a lot of apps that come with your Tesla. Not a music streaming, video streaming, just a bunch of random things that kind of bundle up your whole little app section here. And there is a way to organize them for the ones that you don't use, so they're not just all bundled up right here. So if you hit the menu button, you can pull up all of the apps that Tesla has, which is a lot. But if you want to kind of clear this, because nobody uses all of these, what you can do is to go to this little volume icon here in the settings, go to sources, and you can just check off the ones that you don't use. So nobody uses all of these streaming services. So if you uncheck a lot of these, like we don't use TuneIn or Tidal or Apple Podcast, Audible, all this stuff here. Now, once they're all unchecked, go back to your menu. You can see it's a lot more organized for stuff you actually use. And for the ones you use the most, you can actually hit customize and drag them down to your quick menu right here. So you can access them with the touch of a button. So the left of the menu button are your quick apps. To the right is your most recently used apps. The eighth thing you should know are accessories that Teslas don't come with, but you kind of need them. Some examples of those are like organizers. So the middle tray here, the armrest, it comes with a lot of space, almost too much space. It's very deep if you don't have a little organizer to organize your stuff with. Also, the newer models just don't have floor mats anymore. They used to come with carpet ones, but now they come with nothing. So whether you want carpet or some solid all-weather floor mats, you need to buy those either from Tesla or a third party. And one more, I would say that's a necessary accessory that Tesla does not come with, is a screen protector. The last thing you want to do is damage the whole thing that kind of runs your car, right? So it's important to have that protected. So next, let's talk about charging, because you need to upgrade your at-home charger, right? Well, probably not for most people if you don't drive like a crazy amount. If you have a standard outlet in your garage or somewhere to plug into a standard outlet, that's enough charge for overnight for daily driving for most people. Using a standard outlet, you'll get between 4 and 5 miles of range per hour of charge. So if you charge overnight for 12 or 14 hours, that's about 60 or 70 miles of driving, which is more than most people drive in a day. So unless you drive a crazy amount of miles every day, you might want to think twice about needing to upgrade your at-home charger. And supercharging is always an option, especially on road trips. It's super easy to do that, but it is more expensive than at-home charging, although it's still cheaper than gas. And lastly, let's talk about autopilot versus full self-driving. So you may have heard that Teslas can fully drive themselves. And while that is somewhat true, that's more of full self-driving, which is a paid upgrade that will completely drive your Tesla by itself on city streets. It'll stop at stoplights, make turns for you, do all that fancy stuff. But autopilot is free on every single Tesla. It comes standard. It's a little different where it won't make turns or stop at stop signs or stoplights for you, but on highway driving, it will keep you a safe distance from the car in front of you, keep a certain speed you set it at, keep you in your lane. So for long road trips, Autopilot is an absolute game changer. So if you want the complete full self-driving, that is a paid upgrade, but standard Autopilot comes free on every Tesla. And now, last but certainly not least, the one thing that I'm glad I knew that I almost didn't know if I didn't research Teslas so much before I bought it, is that Teslas come with what they call Sentry Mode. And what Sentry Mode is when your car is parked, it will record things around you if somebody walks by or gets close to it. Or in my case, if you take your car home from the dealership and the next morning somebody backs into your car, it'll actually record what happened. So if you do get in a hit and run where your car is parked and the guy drives away, you can actually see the footage, get the license plate, so you don't have to pay out of pocket for all of that. And Sentry Mode, just like Autopilot, is a standard feature on every single Tesla, but it is something you have to turn on. So if you do get your car, make sure you turn Sentry Mode on. It might save your life. So if you're a new or soon to be new Tesla owner, congratulations. I hope this video helped you feel more prepared for what I hope is an amazing ownership experience for you. If you haven't purchased yet, be sure to use our referral code to save $500 off your purchase of a brand new Tesla. And if you like videos like this, for your road trips, accessories, reviews, all Tesla things, make sure you subscribe. And as always, catch you in the next one.